Welcome to the Cell Guru Show. It's been a very exciting week, and that's exactly what is reflected in our show today. So lots of things happening, including the Poco M3. Now, this is a very interesting phone, and Poco starting to become an interesting company. Started off by being just a copycat and taking out phones from the Xiaomi portfolio and rebadging them, but now they're starting to do good stuff. In fact, this is the interesting looking phone, the M3, has some great features. We'll take a look at that. We'll also compare it to another phone that is exactly the same in price point, almost the same in features. Let's see which one actually wins. And then of course, we've also got our Qualcomm technology segment. So let's get started with today's Cell Guru Show. Our top story is this, the Poco M3. I'll take you through 2 or 3 things that I really liked right off the bat. First and foremost, what I've really liked about it is that Poco now has finally found some footing. It's already doing very well in the Indian market, but it's found footing and an identity as a brand now, because earlier it was doing some strange things, even though they were slightly successful with that also, and I wonder why. They were basically taking Xiaomi phones that had already been released in the Indian market, and rebranding it, rebadging it, just putting their name on it and tweaking it a little, and sometimes not tweaking it at all. So everybody wondered, what is Poco doing? I mean, why are they actually doing that? Well, the answer seems to be that they wanted to get into the Indian market and then come up with their own portfolio, and that's what they're doing. So now let's move on to the Poco M3. 10,999 rupees. I'll tell you some of the things that actually stand out. First of all, the looks. Different from everything else in this category. So it's not that typical glossy plastic black. They've actually gone with a gradient. Interesting color. There's yellow. They have 2 other colors also. Full HD plus screen, which is a big deal. And like I've said, now in the 11 and 10,000 rupee market, not having full HD screen is a no-no. You shouldn't be buying it at all. Then 6 GB of RAM, which is great at this price point. A good processor, which is also very, very nice out here, and then a 6000 mAh battery. But these sound good. Overall, is the phone really good? Is there also competition for this phone? Let's take a look.
The budget category just got lit as Poco brings the M3 with its claims of excellent optics, loads of power and a big battery to be your daily driver. It even comes in bright eye-catching colors like this yellow that you see on the screen. But can that sunshine yellow outshine the competition at this price? Let's find out. Poco has opted for a vibrant shade of yellow that is a head turner, though a black variant is available for anyone who wants a more subdued option. We particularly like the texture at the back of the phone that gives it a nice grip. Additionally, Poco has managed to keep the weight of the phone below 200 grams despite the massive 6000 mAh battery, which means that you won't be stressing out your hand even with extended use. The M3 opts for a side-mounted fingerprint scanner, which is fast and reliable. There is face unlock on board as well. Over at the front, you'll spot a 6.5-inch Full HD Plus IPS panel. The display is bright with good contrast ratio. Even under the direct sunlight, the text on the screen was legible. At this price point, there's not much to complain about here. Talking about the cameras, the Poco M3 has 3 of them at the back. There is a 48 megapixel primary sensor, a 2 megapixel secondary sensor with an f2.4 macro lens and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. The camera performs well in broad daylight. The portraits come out well. The macro lens does its job, but the details aren't that clear once the photo is produced. Meanwhile, the 8MP front-facing camera is capable of taking decent shots as long as the lighting is good. Coming to the performance, the phone is powered by a Snapdragon 662 chipset with 6 GB of RAM. The phone flies through all the tasks given and doesn't disappoint when it comes to playing heavy games. The phone runs on MIUI 12 based on Android 10. Because it's a Poco phone, it is highly unlikely that you will see ads on this. In our time with it, we didn't come across any ads and pop-ups. As per the company, the Android 11 update will come soon for the M3. The big highlight is the 6000 mAh battery that we found to be more than sufficient for a full day of use. There is 18-watt fast charging support, which means that it won't take you too long to top up the phone. However, there is no support for wireless charging. Overall, priced at 10,999 rupees for the 64 GB variant, The M3 brings a lot to the table in this price category. It goes head-on against the Redmi 9 Power but comes out ahead with no ads and a head-turning design. If you're in the market for a budget phone, the M3 has the potential to be your perfect companion.
So what we said about this phone and everything else that we think about this phone, we've already told you. But there is another phone that is very similar in the market, and that is the Redmi 9 Power. Now, a lot of these things are similar, some are not. Let's take a look and compare these two and come up with which phone is actually better.
The budget phone segment has received a lot of attention from smartphone manufacturers. Companies are rushing to put as much as they can into the phone's body and keeping the price as low as possible. In the middle of all this, two phones have really taken center stage: the newly launched Poco M3 and the Redmi 9 Power. What does one do that the other doesn't? Here's our comparison of these two budget champions. From the outside, these two phones look really different. While both phones have a plastic back, the Poco M3 comes with a textured plastic back, whereas the Redmi 9 Power has a gradient finish. The Poco M3 has a head-turning design and it feels a lot different than the competition, whereas the Redmi's design is similar to other plastic-backed phones. Optics is where the Redmi 9 Power takes a lead over the Poco M3. There is a quad camera setup at the back of the Redmi 9 Power with a 48MP main sensor, an 8MP ultra-wide sensor and a couple of 2MP sensors for depth and macro shots. The Poco M3 on the other hand only has a triple camera array with a 48MP primary sensor, a 2MP depth sensor and a 2MP macro camera. In real-world performance as well, the Redmi 9 Power crushes the Poco M3 as the images from the Redmi look incredibly good in comparison to those from the Poco. There are a lot of similarities in terms of performance. Both phones have the same Snapdragon 662 processor, but Poco M3 turns the tables on the Redmi 9 Power as it has 6GB RAM as compared to just 4GB on the Redmi. With a 50% increase in RAM capacity, the Poco M3 has a little extra horsepower to perform tasks better. Both phones are neck and neck in terms of battery. With a 6000 mAh battery and 18-watt fast charging on both devices, you won't be reaching for the charger anytime soon. The Poco M3 has a 6.53-inch Full HD Plus screen that has great colors and viewing angles. Similarly, the Redmi 9 Power has an identical 6.53-inch screen, so you get the exact same experience no matter what phone you buy. Both Redmi 9 Power and Poco M3 are available for the same price of 10,999 rupees. At the end of the day, the decision you have to make comes down to whether you want more RAM or a greater number of cameras. A higher amount of RAM on the Poco M3 means that performance is better on this phone, but if you want a better camera phone, the quad camera setup on the Redmi 9 Power will give you a better experience.
Time now to move to our Qualcomm segment, and this time we're going to talk about the modem RF. Now, before you start thinking, what's a modem RF? Doesn't sound very interesting. Believe me, this is one of the most interesting things that you actually get to get some information and knowledge on, because this is that component in your phone that makes it all happen. Without this, you wouldn't have a cellular connection, you wouldn't have a Wi-Fi connection, you wouldn't have anything. In fact, your smartphone would not be smart at all. If there's one thing that this pandemic and lockdown has taught us, it's taught us many things, but I think this is an important one. It's how lucky are we to have the internet with us. Can you imagine if all that happened to us had happened about, say, 10 or 20 years back also, when most of us didn't have a smartphone and the internet was not what it is right now. There must be many who can even remember using the internet, using up a dial-up connection, that screech of the modem, connecting in a web page taking minutes rather than milliseconds to load. Wow, those times. But we've evolved, and so has the internet. Back in the day, I used to get very excited when my internet connection jumped from 9.6 kbps to 14.4 kbps. That jump in speed meant that the web pages would load just a little bit faster and the MP3 file would download just a few seconds quicker. Legitimate ones, right? Okay. But now having a speed of 10 Mbps is like the bare minimum we expect from our internet connection. And we are never satisfied, right? We yearn for even more. When 4G stepped in, our on-the-move internet speed got faster and our usage patterns became broader. We went from sending emails and text messages to online payments, streaming our movies, video calls, and all of this is only going to improve with the advent of 5G. Now, we spoke about this a couple of weeks back that 5G is now just around the corner, and once we get 5G, it's going to be massive. The promise of 5G is ever faster data speeds and even better network connectivity. But 5G can benefit you only if your phone has the right tools for it. And some of these key tools are the modem and radio frequency elements inside, or modem RF system. While we don't always talk about the modem RF system, it's a very essential part of defining the user experience of a device. The modem system is like the heart of the processor inside the smartphone. It's pretty much responsible for all your cellular connectivity. This really is the heart and the lifeblood of your phone. The modem can be considered one of the most important parts of the smartphone. Without it, your phone would just be a block of glass and metal. I mean, you could do stuff with it, but not much. You wouldn't be able to call or message or even access the internet. So if the world where everything around us can be controlled by our smartphones, therefore becomes really important to have a phone that can actually enable a really good experience. A smartphone's modem RF system enables faster data speeds, network coverage and reception, better call quality, reducing call drops, as well as the quality of voice while on a phone call. And not just this, the modem RF can also extend the battery life of a smartphone. Of course, all these experiences are conditional on the fact that your smartphone should have, what I said before, a good modem RF system inside it. And good modems and RF solutions is where Qualcomm technology steps in, and they've been a pioneer of mobile data technologies. And Snapdragon now provides leading-edge modem RF systems. Qualcomm Technologies is no stranger to innovating in the smartphone ecosystem. It's a leading inventor of technologies that constantly enhances the overall user experience. And with the Snapdragon modem RF system, Qualcomm ensures that the data speeds and smartphone performances are maximized to the absolute core. Qualcomm's modem RF system are designed with mobile in mind, which means that Qualcomm is dedicated towards enabling a superior experience for all of us. With a strong push for a better future, Qualcomm delivers modem RF systems that are 5G ready and support fast data speeds. Snapdragon modem RF systems are designed for multi-gigabit data speeds of up to 7.5 Gbps. That's insane. Now let's hear from Qualcomm and how they enable these superior mobility experiences. So let's speak to Mike Roberts, the Vice President Product Marketing for Qualcomm Technologies. And great to have you here, and we've been speaking to so many people from Qualcomm. But today I want to know from you, Qualcomm is known for providing leading-edge connectivity solutions on the Snapdragon platform. What should that mean to a consumer? I mean, they know what it does, but what should it really mean? I mean, what's really happening there?
Today, we all expect and frankly demand seamless connectivity. It has become as important to us as electricity, or to my kids, almost as important as oxygen. However, to provide the best experiences to consumers, a peek behind the curtain is important, and what it reveals is a very complex system. Even having worked in the mobile industry my entire career, many days it feels like magic to me. But Qualcomm has always taken a systems level approach to even the most complex problems. As you look inside your smartphone, the modem RF systems in our Snapdragon platforms are designed to work under the most challenging network conditions. And this helps us provide a better mobile experience through enhanced coverage, fewer drop calls, better data rates, better voice quality. Well, you get the idea. And all of these aggregate together to provide a significantly improved overall user experience.
Okay, great. Great insight out there, but how do you enable these experiences?
To offer the mobile experiences that we all deserve, we understand consumers' needs and work very closely with the industry, with smartphone manufacturers, networks, and telcos to create our products. It is a multi-step process. For smartphones and for other devices, to deliver a seamless experience, it is important that the network and the device are compatible with each other and, for example, both support the latest features. We then work across the globe with network operators to ensure that we have full interoperability between the network and the modem RF system on the Snapdragon platform. Finally, we work with telecom operators to enable and fine-tune these features so that consumers get the best experience out of their Snapdragon-based platforms under various conditions.
This is quite incredible. I wonder why consumers or even people like us who report so much on technology don't pay as much attention to the connectivity experience.
Well, I'd argue that people care a lot about their connected experiences, particularly when connectivity fails during a call with loved ones, or an important remote presentation, or a job interview, or even when you're having fun during a multiplayer or a cloud game. Our job at Qualcomm is to help people realize that connectivity and what makes connectivity work great in their phones, why they should care, and what it really takes to have a great connectivity experience. Things like the modem RF system in our Snapdragon platforms.
Thank you so much for speaking with us. Wonderful insight today. Let's go and speak to Randeep Sekho now. He's CTO for Airtel India. Randeep, thank you so much for joining us. Now, how does device performance impact network performance, and how does it impact the actual user experience? I mean, away from all the tech jargon, the user experience, that daily thing that they do with their phone, how does it really affect that?
Thanks, Rajiv. It's a very good question, because generally people have this view that the problem when they face with the network, it is only the network issue. While I agree, many times it is a network issue only, but it is also the device which plays an important role in what experience the customer will get. Sometimes in remote areas you find one device has a network coverage, other doesn't have, which is clearly the sensitivity of the device. Then there are certain features which allow the device to perform better. For example, the hardware support of different 4G bands. In India, there are 4G in 6 bands. So if the device doesn't support the critical bands, it may not be able to get good experience. So really, device choice of the customer is also very important, which will have a bearance on the experience the customer gets, both on hardware, software, features, sensitivity, and they together, along with the operator's network, will kind of decide what experience the customer gets after using the device.
So how do you go about optimizing the network, as people keep calling it?
There is a different facet of the network which gets into play when you optimize it. You need to have a deeper understanding of technology, access to advanced tools, using those AI and machine learning algorithms to correlate and predict this is the issue and this is how you should pick up and fix your network. It is not only fixed on the radio side, it's also fixed on the transport and core side. Really deep tech is needed, and this is what we pride ourselves in doing in Airtel with our partners like Qualcomm. They being a very close technology provider and technology leading company, they help us finding those small nuances and small features like schedulers or things like that, that if you do this, you'll be able to give a better experience to the customer.
What role can smartphone makers actually play to ensure great device performance?
The experience is a factor of device, application, and network. Network guys, of course, this is our job. We have to give a good experience to our customers. But I think the device guys, if they come in it also and seeing, let us see what various models of my device are performing in your network and how we can improve in the next model we are bringing, and how is my network performance better than my competition's device. If 3 of us can get together and give a great experience, I'm sure the Indian user will find his online usage even more happy.
Thank you, Randeep. Thank you so much for being with us on the Cell Guru Show. Let's take a quick break right now on the show. When we come back, lots more happening. Now let's do a game review. This is Sky Children of the Light. This is an indie adventure game. I wouldn't be able to categorize it very differently because it does have a very different purpose. So rather than the kind of RPG games or other games that you have, this one has an open world which you can explore and roam around. And then there is light to be found, light that actually makes you shine brighter and makes you also grow. Let's take a look.
Mobile games have been a shining beacon in the past year and have continued to gain popularity in phases. One game that's been leading the line is Sky, Children of the Light. Developed by a publisher called That Game Company, Sky is an indie adventure game that will leave you speechless with its gameplay and graphics. On its face, there's nothing incredibly special about Sky. The gameplay is relatively simple, there's no combat involved. It's about going on a journey and the premise revolves around healing and restoration. Despite the simple gameplay, it's incredibly enticing and you'll find yourself playing this game for hours at a stretch. The game wants you to wander around the world, find hidden and lost spirits, and evolve yourself. There is no combat and no health bar either, but you do wear a cape that helps you move around and fly elegantly. The cape is the hero of the game as that is what drives the movements and it does so with grace. But capes run out of energy fast. And the way to replenish that energy is through candles, which is the in-game currency. Candles can be obtained by collecting pieces of light and forging them, but you can always buy them with in-app purchases. Finding the lost spirits also help the players in unlocking the Children of Light, that give players winged light. This levels up the cape, which gives you more energy and you can fly farther. Sky, Children of the Light is a visual marvel and you won't get bored for even a second. However, there's a drawback with such an art-intensive game. If you don't have a flagship device in your hands, chances are your phone will heat up quickly and ruin the entire gaming experience.
That then was the Cell Guru show for this week, but lots coming up next week. Very exciting stuff. Do join me.